joining us. We go live every Tuesday at 9:15. We do an interview, a taste test. I have something for us today. I have a very special guest today. And today's show is with Robert Keto Savage, the founder of Keto Brick, the founder of Keto Savage, podcast, bodybuilder, coach. Did I miss something?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I wanted to do your intro instead of you doing your intro. So we're so excited to talk to you. Today we'll be talking to Robert all about Keto Brick, which is slowly but surely becoming very loved in Canada. We're going to be talking about the Chocolate Mint Keto Brick launch. And we're going to be picking Robert's brain to talk about fitness, nutrition, and I'm going to get really selfish tonight. So hi, Jacqueline. Love me, my Keto Brick. Thank you. Jacqueline's been so excited for this episode. Thank you, Jacqueline. And so, Robert, the way it works is the first 5 minutes, we welcome everybody. We talk about our win of the week and our challenge of the week. Sorry to put you on the spot. And then we get into it.
All right. So I have to come up with a win and a challenge right now?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I put you on the spot. I didn't tell you we do that. So my win of the week is, for the first time, the Switch Grocery team, after the pandemic, we're going to be having a Christmas party. It's going to be at our house. Nice. Our son is going to be there. Our dog is going to be there. And we've been prepping all week for this. And that's going to be this Thursday. So I'm really excited. That's our win of the week.
Awesome.
My challenge of the week is there's going to be a party in my house. And I got to clean up. And we'll probably clean up right before the party. So that's my challenge of the week.
I like it. I could probably piggyback off of that, because we're actually doing the same thing. We're doing a Christmas party with the Keto Brick crew on Friday. So after work, everybody's going to come over to our house on Friday, and we're going to have food that we grill, and it's just going to be a little celebration. So we can have that same challenge and win and loss, I guess. But I think, honestly, I mean, we did. So we went live with mint chocolate on Sunday, and it sold out. I don't know what time it sold out, but when I got on my phone the next morning on Monday to check the inventory, they were all gone. So it sold out at some point on Sunday. So that would be a win for me. And then a challenge is that we're hiring right now. So in the middle of the hiring application process, going through candidates, having them job shadow, trying to pick the right one, which is always a good thing, but it's a challenge nonetheless. So that's our win and challenge for sure.
I love that, Robert. And hey guys, looking forward to new brick. So let's just drive right into the chocolate mint. Let's just do it.
All right.
Why did you make it? What was your kind of thought process when you made it? What does it taste like from the creator himself?
Yeah, so Crystal's been wanting a peppermint brick for a long time, and we've tried to make a peppermint brick, and it hasn't worked out. I'm not giving up on it, but we kind of had like a little compromise with the mint chocolate. I was able to find a good protein supplier for this one. This is actually a brand new protein supplier, which, interestingly enough, one of the guys that I've competed with in the past had actually beat me in a competition. He has his own supplement company, so I used his protein powder for this one, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, we just decided to make the mint chocolate. The taste test worked out. The flavor profile worked well. We tried a few new things. This is the first and only brick that we have with the erythritol, which we don't plan on continuing, but it is in this brick as just like a one-off seasonal thing. This one's only got 6 grams of total carbs, so our lowest by far. We're super excited about it. It tastes really good. I mean, it tastes a lot like those Andes mints. I remember eating those a lot when I was eating carbs, and I think it tastes a lot like an Andes mint.
I am so excited for it. So it launches. It's going to drop on Switch on Friday. Mm-hmm. I believe it's arrived at our warehouse today, nice. And we just have to unpack it and get it ready. Nice. This one, I'm just looking at Jacqueline. This one is different ingredient wise. Yeah, that's what she noticed as well. Mark is excited about chocolate mint. He already said he's going to place his order on Friday. Great nice. Reviews on it. And All Things Shell says she's excited to hear all things Keto Brick tonight. So my question for you, Robert, has been, why did you start Keto Brick? What led you to it? And I know you've told the story before, but I'm really excited to hear it from you.
Yeah, so it was never meant to be a company. It never meant to be a product that was for sale in the marketplace. It was simply a way to scratch my own itch. In 2017, when I was doing my first ketogenic competition prep for a bodybuilding show, at that point, there was no keto products on the market. There weren't any keto bars. There was very little keto content. So I just basically set out to make something that streamlined my meal prep endeavors. I wanted something that hit the macros, had higher fats, moderate protein, very low carbs, and was convenient from a meal prep standpoint. Because when I was in a prep, I was just prepping all my meals, and I wanted to streamline that part of the operation. So I just set out to, formulate something, and had lots of different versions. Like the original keto bricks, we were trying to bake them. We tried to make a granola. Like it didn't start out as the brick. Like it started out as like a bunch of different versions of things. I tried making a cereal out of it. And then we just kept landing on this brick. Like the brick just made the most sense, and it tasted good. It was shelf stable, convenient. And I liked everything about it. And didn't plan on it being a product. I was eating it in my YouTube videos because I was documenting my prep, and people kept asking me, what is that thing? Where can I get it? What's the recipe? How much does it cost? And I just kind of wrote it off. I'm like, it's nothing. It's just something I'm using for this prep. Don't worry about it. And my mom, who was probably one of my only YouTube subscribers at the time, was like, you got to make this into a product because people keep asking about it. And I just kept writing it off. And then finally we got so many requests for it that Crystal, my girlfriend at the time, wife now, we're like, okay, let's just roll up our sleeves and dive into the wonderful world of a food product business and see what happens. So she dove into the world of figuring out, health code, what has to be done from a health standpoint. I dove into the world of physical products, marketing, sales, Shopify stores, shipping, fulfillment, all that stuff. And then the brick was born.
Well, Barbara Scott says, "Yay, mom!"
Yeah.
I didn't know that your mom did that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And people know about it. So the thing that I find the hardest, so we sell Keto Brick on our store in Canada, and I tried it and loved it, but I always find that the market's flooded with keto products, and we know because everyone's contacting us to carry their product, where the first ingredient is inulin.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to ask you about what is your vision of Keto Brick? Like, what does it do for people that makes it different from all the other keto products out there?
Yeah, so I made it as a quality product. Like I was making it for my own personal consumption, where the primary objective was to optimize my performance as a natural bodybuilder. So first and foremost, I didn't want any compromise whatsoever when it came to the integrity of the ingredients or the quality of the product. And that hasn't changed since we made it into a product that we sell online. So that's first and foremost. And with that said, I didn't want to go the route of co-packing because most times when companies outsource their production to a co-packer, you're kind of at the whims of what ingredients the co-packers want to use. They get better margins on certain ingredients. Oftentimes those ingredients aren't as high quality, which is why we've kept the production in-house from day one. So Crystal and I were in the kitchen making these things. Then we hired family and friends, and now we've got employees that are making these things. But the production has always been in-house, from the get-go. And I don't really see that change. So that's one thing that sets us apart. And secondly, like I said, we don't sacrifice the quality of the product just simply to improve our margins. Like honestly, the margins on the brick are terrible. You and I have had that conversation. Like there's not much margin when it comes to the bricks. And that's simply because the ingredients that I'm putting in these things are really expensive ingredients. Like 100% raw organic cacao butter is one of the single most expensive ingredients I think anybody could purchase when it comes to food creation. And that's the primary ingredient in the bricks. The protein is all grass-fed whey protein concentrate or a quality vegetable-based protein. Like we're not putting fillers in there. We're not putting chicory root fiber or inulin or a bunch of allulose or something that's going to cause GI distress. And I don't see that ever changing because then it defeats the point of why I made this product to begin with. So we're not a bar, we're a brick. Most of their bars are 150, 250 calories. And honestly, when you look at the price point, the price per calorie, the bricks are actually cheaper than all these other bars. Like when you do the math on a brick that costs what it does and compare it to a Snickers bar, which is like the lowest on the totem pole as far as quality ingredients goes, when you compare that cost per calorie, we're actually cheaper than the Snickers bar. Like one of our big selling points is people literally cannot go to the store and buy the raw ingredients and make a keto brick themselves for cheaper than they can buy it from us. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a really streamlined operation. It's quality from the get-go, and I eat one every single day. I'm proud of what we make, and I'm proud to continue producing them.
Have you been surprised with who you thought your customers would be and who they've ended up being? Because I'm
Yeah,
not a bodybuilder. I don't know if you can tell, but that's not what I do in my daily life.
yeah,
So, but I love Keto Brick, and I can't tell you how useful it has been for me. Like, it's
yeah.
been phenomenal.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like my Keto Savage brand, which is like the parent company where it all stemmed from. You know, like all of my marketing, all of my branding, all of my color scheme, it's all about like red, black, dark, savage, aggressive. You know, and half of my clients, or more than half of my clients, are middle-aged women that are not bodybuilders and not competing. So, you know, I put out information that's catering towards a specific demographic, but at the end of the day, we all want to be healthier. We all want to live longer, improve our longevity, improve our lifespan, our health span. And honestly, a lot of the same messages and principles that I'm using for my competitive athletes apply to the general population. And the same is true with the keto brick. Like, if you're not a performance athlete, you may not need to eat a whole brick in a sitting, but maybe you need a half a brick or a quarter brick. And at the end of the day, it's just a really good quality fat source. You know, with cacao butter being the primary ingredient, it's really high in stearic acid. That's generally tolerated really well from a gastrointestinal standpoint by most people. It's just a really good option for a quality fat source. And if you're following a ketogenic or low carb diet, whether you're competing or not, you're going to need to have a good quality fat source.
I've literally never heard anyone say those words. The fact that you just said that everyone, like whether you're a competitive bodybuilder or whether you're someone like me who works a lot, and I'm a parent, the goals are the same, which is true. We want to live longer and we want to live a healthy life. And I'll tell you, for me, what I use Keto Brick for. So I go to our office space and I go to our warehouse, and sometimes I have no time to make lunch. I have no time to do literally anything. And our son's at a home daycare, so he goes with our nephew who was born the same day. So they go, and then we just quickly get ready and like rush out. And sometimes I fast or forget to eat. That's just naturally what I do. And the thing that I grab is a Keto Brick. So I can eat it when I'm driving. I can eat it just if I step out of the door. People might step out for a cigarette. I step out to eat a Keto Brick, you know.
Nice.
I can eat it in the car. I can eat it while I'm at my laptop, maybe working at 5 a.m. I don't have to think at all. And so thank you. Like, I just wanted to share that with you, that it's helped me in so much of a pinch. Like, I've been in a pinch so many times. Like, what do I eat? And I don't want to go through. I don't want to go through a drive-through.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to do that.
Well, I love hearing that. Like, I love seeing people post them eating the brick in weird places too. Like, it's literally, I've got pictures of them eating it like on tops of mountains and like in the middle of a lake or a river, like weird places. So I feel like when it comes to a shelf-stable, convenient food that you can consume anywhere, that's a good option to have. You know, like I'm always going to promote, you know, quality, single ingredient, wholesome, you know, natural foods first and foremost. Like, even though I own a food product company, I would still recommend prioritizing whole single ingredient foods. But in those instances where you need to have something convenient, you can't whip out a grill and grill a steak on the spot. Having something like a keto brick's a pretty safe option for sure.
Amazing. Well, I think you answered my next question, which was about your view on real food, because I know that you and Crystal, you prioritize real food where possible. It's funny, I almost look at Keto Brick as real food. It's also for picky toddlers. Just another thing, if you didn't know, but my kid sometimes just hates meat. I don't know why, but he just does. And this is what we do. Okay, let me show you. This is how we do it. So we melt down, this is the chocolate peanut butter, and then this is the nootropic icing. So we melt it down. I saw
you making that. It looked pretty good when you were making that.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
It's just, and then the thing is, the best thing about this, actually, Mark, one of our customers, told me he puts it in, I think it's like 150 calorie pucks, or he puts it in pucks, and he just exactly knows what he's grabbing out of the fridge. But having something like this in our fridge during the week of a Christmas party or during the week when I'm busy, it's just amazing. So yeah, don't be jealous, but this is delicious.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been cool to see how versatile it is. Like I eat just a whole brick at a time. I'll just eat the whole brick. But to see people that don't need to eat a whole brick, melt it down, add it into recipes, like I think that's genius.
Yeah, and I have a crazy idea for the chocolate mint. I'm gonna melt it down, and then we have star shapes, rocket shapes.
Nice.
So for my kiddo, I'm actually going to make, just basically kind of like it's gonna look like cookies. He's not
Yeah.
gonna know, but
Yeah.
he's gonna be eating the keto
That's
brick.
perfect. Perfect.
Okay, so what is your process to come up with new flavors? Because you've been doing new flavors a lot this year. We just
Mhm.
did a launch with the maple. I don't know if you knew, but maple is a Canadian. It's just like made in
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah, yeah.
That's what we're all about. So that flavor was for us, I think.
Yeah. Did that go
What's
over
your
pretty well? The
yes,
buttermilk? Nice.
like amazing. It'll be interesting to see for us the chocolate mint compared to that because again we're Canadian, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of people who love mint chocolate. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Mm,
So when it comes to flavor formulation, the main thing I change is the protein flavor. So like that is kind of where the base starts. So like I'll get a bunch of different samples of different protein flavors, and then I'll try that, but then I'll have to tweak other ingredients. Like I'll have to change the nut butters, add, subtract, change the type of nut butter, whether or not it's got nibs in there or flax or the amount of MCT oil powder. I have to kind of tweak all that stuff, all while trying to keep things at 1,000 calories per brick and kind of keeping all that stuff standardized. So mostly
mhm.
it's a matter of just pulling different levers to see what tastes right. If we make some and they're too salty, or they don't have enough sweetness, or they have too much sweetness, then I kind of have to dial things up or down. And then we'll just simply have these samples. We'll come into the morning meeting with all the employees. We'll cut up a bunch of pieces. We'll have everybody take a bite, and then we'll just get their feedback and then adjust accordingly. So that's pretty
That
much how it goes.
that sounds amazing. I actually want to be part of that. And
Yeah.
how do you pick your ingredients for a keto brick? Like, would you start with fat and protein first always, and then the flavor profiles?
Yes, I mean the primary ingredient is always going to be the cacao butter. That's kind of what makes the brick, and
Yeah.
then from there, we've got like the next highest ingredient is typically the protein powder. So there's anywhere from 40 to 50 to 60 to, I mean, it just really depends on the flavor, how many grams of a given ingredient is in there. But we'll typically start with the protein powder and the cacao butter, and then based off the flavor profile we're going for, like if we're going for something with a crunch, then we'll include something like the chocolate nibs or like, nut pieces in there. If we want something that has more smooth, doesn't have a crunch, then we'll do away with all of that. Like when we go like the original mocha flavor, which was the original brick, I mean, that's got the most ingredients. I mean, there's pieces of flax in there, there's nibs in there, there's the protein powder, the cacao butter, there's MCT oil powder, there's ground coffee in there. Like there's a pretty diverse flavor profile with the mocha. But then like the chocolate peanut butter cup is our biggest seller. And you've got obviously the peanut butter in there. So that has a pretty profound impact on the flavor profile as well.
I love it. I'm getting hungry talking to you, so I'm really glad I brought some keto brick with me to the office. Um, and Shalini says she got the nootropic icing, and she's very excited for the chocolate mint. Such an innovative product. I can't wait to see what she does with them. And Jacqueline says the grab and go aspect of the product is fantastic. So easy to make into smaller portions. I have them presently shaped into gingerbread people. See, this is what I
Nice.
need. This is what I need to do. We talked about your favorite ways that keto brick is used. Is there any? Have you seen any like wild, crazy recipes or things that have just completely shocked you with what people have done with keto brick?
One thing I've seen people do that is somewhat shocking is we've had a few people do like a brick challenge in which all they eat for like a week or two is bricks, which I would never recommend. Like I don't know why people do this. I don't encourage it at all. I advise them not to do it. Kind of like going back to what I was saying. I would prioritize single ingredient like natural protein sources and whatnot. But that has been shocking to see people want to do. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat nothing but bricks. Uh, but it's been interesting to see that. We've got a recipe section on the website that
Oh,
has a bunch of
great.
recipes that you can make using the brick as one of the primary, base ingredients, like cookies and cakes and pies and stuff like that. But I've seen
I
some, I
love
mean, like
that.
the bark, like just simply the melting it down and doing like brick covered bacon pieces. I mean, stuff like that, as simple as it sounds, is pretty delicious.
Um, I had one other question about total carbs, but Kevin is distracting me with Northwest Arkansas is a beautiful place to visit.
There you
Um, there you go. That's tourism for Arkansas. My question was about total carbs. So I've noticed that your focus for the brick is a focus on total carbs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when we first designed the packaging, we were making, because like if you look at the brick, I don't have any here handy like a package, but like we made it such that it shows, how many grams of fats in there, how many grams of protein, and then we originally had it show how many grams of net carbs are in there because all the other bar companies do net carbs. And then I got
Yes.
to thinking about it, and it's like I don't really want to put myself in the same category as all these other bar companies that are having like very low net carbs, like 2, 3, 4 grams of net carbs. But then you turn the package over and it's like 25 or 30 grams of total carbs because they're putting all that filler ingredient in there. So I'm just like, well, let's just own it outright. We'll just put our total carbs on the front of package. And that is still significantly less than many of these other bars. So it's like, might as well be proud of it. I'm a big advocate for tracking total carbs over net carbs. So I felt like it made sense to just showcase that right there on the front.
I love that. And I hadn't paid attention to total carbs until I found Keto Brick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now I'm going to start looking at bars and figuring out, because I'm sure they're jacked up on
Yeah.
total carbs.
Well, I mean, like you think about it, like some of it gets pretty tricky, especially since they started allowing allulose as an ingredient, and like when you have to go through a math equation to figure out what's in your food, when it shows 2 grams of net carbs, but that's when you take fiber minus allulose minus erythritol minus sugar alcohols, like it just becomes overly complicated. Whereas if you just simply track your total carb intake, it just simplifies things, and you can be more honest with your actual consumption.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And I think I'm going to start doing that. Lori says she melts them into candy molds as her hubby will then grab and eat them. He's a stressed non-eater, loses his appetite completely. These have helped him keep his protein and fat up. That's so interesting.
Perfect.
So moving on to nutrition, because this was when we sent out a poll of what topic people wanted us to focus on with you. Obviously, fitness was one. Keto Brick was up there, and then nutrition came up. So I kind of came up with a few questions for you for nutrition.
All right, rock and
based
roll.
on surveying a few people. And we just talked about total carbs. And I think the biggest thing on people's mind right now is budget when it comes to time and when it comes to money. So obviously people are kind of pulling back spending at the moment. It's an expensive month in any way. And then the other part of it is cooking takes time. Cooking takes grocery shopping, prepping in the kitchen, all of these things. So I wanted to ask you about what are a few investments you ask to you or you would recommend to your clients to make when it comes to nutrition, busy people.
Yeah, so honestly, just meal prepping is going to help a lot. Like when I'm in a competition prep and time is of the essence and I don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, I'll just cook a lot of ground beef and eggs up in advance. And then I'll just kind of do like a scramble with that ground beef and eggs. And I'll partition that out in several Tupperwares, which I'll just simply grab and go throughout the week. It takes a little bit of time in the moment to meal prep, food for the week. But when you extract that over the course of the entire week, you're saving a ton of time. And that's going to be more cost effective. You're not going to be going out to eat. You're not going to be going to restaurants or drive-thrus or anything like that. You can buy that food in bulk, then cook it all in one sitting and have it ready to rock and roll. You're going to make sure you're getting your nutritional requirements in. And if you're doing something like ground beef and eggs, and that's a very complete nutrient profile. Eggs are one of the single most nutrient-dense sources that have a complete amino acid profile. So making the base of your nutrition something like ground beef and eggs from a meal prep standpoint is going to be really cost effective and really just nutritionally effective as well.
Sometimes do your clients ever tell you that they're tired of ground beef and eggs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to get
because I'm just like, is it just me? And someone just said cooking takes energy, which I often don't have. But that is my question, because sometimes with ground beef and eggs, I'm tired. Robert, I'm tired. I am tired of cooking sometimes.
Yeah.
So which is why I love Keto Brick. But
Instant Pot Instant or not instant pot, air fryer. Air fryer
Oh,
is
interesting.
pretty handy. Yeah, like I'm a fan of air fryer for simplicity's sake. I mean, you can get like some sausage thrown in the air fryer. You can get some chicken thrown in the air fryer. You can get anything thrown in the air fryer and it makes it taste good. So that definitely streamlines things. And I'm totally right there with you. Sometimes I get tired of ground beef and eggs too. So I'll mix it up. I'll throw some fish in there. I'll throw some chicken in there. I'll throw
Nice.
some pork in there. I do totally resonate with not wanting to eat nothing but ground beef and eggs. That's why I'm not like a hardcore carnivore man. Like I am not ever
Yeah.
claiming to be, hardcore. All I eat is ground beef and eggs.
Can you walk us through your day? Because I know we always talk about in general with tips, but one thing I really found, I think you did this on the Team Savage Facebook page. You actually
Hmm.
walk through what Crystal eats and what you eat and timing and things like that. So if you could walk us through that, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, so like this week, for instance, like we cook for our crew. Typically every week,
Wow.
unless we're out or something, like they'll all throw $20 into the pot, and then we'll go to our local meat market, buy a bunch of meat, and then we'll cook that on the weekend. They'll just have that for lunch. So like this week, for instance, we have chicken breast and chicken thighs. So a day in the life of me, nutritionally speaking, this week is I'll wake up, I'll have 2 cups of coffee with about 4 tablespoons of heavy cream in each. My
Love
first
that.
meal will be around noon after I train, and that will consist of a brick. And right now it's a pound of chicken, so I'm having a brick and a pound of chicken. And then my dinner meal, which is my second and final meal this week, is going to be like a steak with some stuffed mushrooms or something simple like that. If I'm trying to go super simple, I'll grab like a can of sardines or smoked oysters or something like that.
Love it. Holiday season. It's
Hmm.
coming up and we're surrounded. I have 2 parties this weekend. So this is something where I would really like to chat with you about because again, with your clients, I'm sure people talk about going off plan or the temptation around holiday season or things like that. How do you recommend or what tips would you have for people managing through holiday season?
Yeah, this is a tricky one because people think so differently. Like when it comes to nutrition and food, I feel like some people are better suited to be moderators and some people are better at eliminating. So I would never want to give advice suited for an eliminator to a moderator and then it be misconstrued. I am definitely an eliminator. Like I would rather just simply not try and toe the line and have foods that I know I'm not going to be able to refrain from. So that said, I stay strict keto. Like I do not deviate from ketogenic foods, and I have not for the past 7 or 8 years now. Holiday seasons are no different. Now, that said, during the holidays, I'll have a variety of ketogenic foods. I'll incorporate some foods that I wouldn't normally eat, like Crystal will make some keto cheesecake or some keto cookies. I'll have more of those during the holidays that I wouldn't have as a normal day to day staple. If I'm in a competition prep and I've got a show date on the calendar, then I have all my meals ready to go and I do not deviate from that even during the holidays, but I don't do that every year. So there's seasons in my life when I'm prepping. There's seasons in my life where I'm just simply trying to consume and build more tissue. I'm not really worried about hitting the specific macro goals as much, but I always keep it strict keto.
Okay, I think I'm a moderator because
Yeah.
I'm listening to it. I'm like, what? Who am I? And I'm probably a moderator. I have my A1C went up after having my son.
Hmm.
I got gestational diabetes in pregnancy, and so I that's kind of where I am right now. So for me, my priority, Robert, has been to kind of bring my A1C down, get myself moving, and eat in general much more lower carb than I
Hmm.
normally would. So this year, I would say during the holidays, my goal definitely is to be more low carb to manage my blood sugar.
And
Um,
you want to be what's sustainable for you. Like if strict keto is not sustainable for you to the point where if you do it for a little while and then you like totally go off on a bender and eat everything in sight, that's obviously not healthy. Whereas if you can mitigate that risk by moderating some foods that you like and are able to moderate, that would be more sustainable for you. And at the end of the day, that's going to be a better option.
um, Thank you. I appreciate listening to that from you. Um, in terms of fitness, okay, let me just show you time check. 30 minutes. Okay, so we have five. I think I planned for 40 minutes. So we have 10 more minutes.
Yeah, we're good.
And
We can talk as long as you like.
okay. I wanted to talk to you about fitness.
Okay.
You're a bodybuilder. This is amazing. I'm just I'm just so curious. What is that like? What is that process like? And again, a lot of our customers are not bodybuilders.
Yeah.
So I think they would be really curious to hear what do you go through from a fitness perspective, from a mental state perspective when you're prepping for a competition.
Yeah, it's definitely two different beasts, whether I'm prepping or not. Like right now, I'm not prepping, but I still train every single day. Like there's still a very regimented protocol to my lifestyle in the building phase. When I'm in a competition prep, like I will be next year, I'm eating every single thing that's been weighed out, measured out, and dialed into the gram. I don't ever skip my training sessions. I'm really regimented with my sleep. It's the epitome of like just disciplined day-to-day consistent action. And I feel like that causes a lot of growth for me outside of the physical component. Like I'm able to tap into areas of my life, areas of my mind that I'm not able to go to unless I'm put up against a wall and placed under that degree of pressure. So all the other components of my life tend to benefit when I take that experience away from the competition prep itself. But it is definitely, people that are not in the sport of bodybuilding have a hard time understanding it. I mean, when you stop and look at it from the outside looking in, it's a bunch of guys posing on stage in front of a panel of judges with skimpy outfits. Like how does one wrap their mind around that? But
Hey, you said it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. You
yeah,
said it.
in reality, it is such a small part of the whole piece of the puzzle. I mean, it's a mindset sport more so than a physical one. Yeah, there's the physical component. I'm doing cardio, I'm doing training, I'm really pushing myself to the brink. My calories are low, I'm hungry, but like the mental component that comes with being that dedicated, that disciplined, that consistent when you don't have to be, when no one's holding a gun to your head saying that you have to do this, but yet you do it anyways because you want to see what you're capable of. Like that is where the growth comes from.
What drives you in those moments where there's no one pushing you, there's no one forcing you to do it?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's probably changed over the years. In the very beginning, it may have been more so a matter of me just proving to myself that I could do it. Now I want to prove not only to myself but to my son as he gets older. I want to be a representation of someone that pursues their dreams in life. I want him to be able to see me manifest that physically and mentally through the sport of bodybuilding and the business I'm building. So yeah, that's something that probably changes as the chapters in my life are changed and written. But at the end of the day, like I just want to see what I'm truly capable of. And I feel like bodybuilding is a great vehicle to push myself to the brink of what I've previously thought possible.
This is so interesting. You're blowing my mind. My brother played recreational soccer for the longest time, and I didn't understand it. And I just was like, why is he doing this? And to the point where he actually, he won't mind if I talk about this, but I think he was going for a goal, and then the goalie hit his ankle a certain way. He twisted. He actually fractured his ankle and now has two screws in his
Oh,
ankle.
wow.
But he always said that playing soccer just gets his mind off everything. He doesn't think about anything else when he's on that field. And I remember being like, you're in your mid-30s, late 30s. Like, what are you doing? Why is this so important? But now listening to you, I think I understand. It wasn't to win a medal or anything like that. It wasn't for the accolades or anything like that. It was just for him to see, what am I capable of on this field? My teammates, like all of those other things.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, like we live in a day and age now where like it's kind of plush. I mean, yeah, there's hardships for sure, but like we're not waking up typically wondering whether or not we're going to survive the day. Like
Right.
we have a bed to go back home to. We have
Right.
hot water that's running. I mean, we have a lot of good things. So I feel like there's a lot of benefit that comes from creating these self-imposed hardships that intentionally bring that adversity into our lives that push us to see what we're truly capable of. And if we don't have that, from our environmental factors, I feel like it's important to bring that into your life willingly. And for me, bodybuilding has been a great way to do that. Honestly, building a business has been a great way to throw at adversity in, because as you can attest, there's oftentimes a lot of hardship that comes in hand when you start a business.
Yeah, 1,000%. It feels a lot like a workout. I started working out again I do it with a mom group. So I go twice a week. And I've been now pretty consistent for a year and a half.
Nice.
And it's kind of like the business. You just keep showing up every week, and that's just half the battle. I'm like, every Monday, I'm like, I do not want to go today. And I get in the car and I drive to the class. I'm the last one in the door when they're starting the warm up. And the minute we start the warm up, I'm like, okay, I'm really glad that I came.
Yeah, once you get that forward momentum going, whether it's with the business or with your fitness endeavors or your nutritional endeavors, like once you get that forward momentum going, you can keep it going. You just got to keep showing up and putting in the work, you know?
I'm writing down these quotes you're saying, and Robert, they're amazing. Like, there's so many clips that I'm going to take from this and watch this back. You said that you train. So do you train, do you do coaching and training, both and or?
Yeah. So like I've got clients that I work one-on-one with, and I focus on the nutritional component, but if they have any questions on training, I'm more than happy to help with them there too. I mean, obviously you want them both to go hand in hand. They're going to kind of benefit one another. So that is for sure the case with regard to my coaching, my training clients. Some of them are competing. Some of them are just simply trying to build muscle or reverse diet or lose body fat. I get a lot of clients that have been chronically undereating, and the thing that they need to do most is actually reverse diet, increase their caloric intake, and then have a corresponding upregulation of their metabolic rates. A lot of women especially have been dieting for far too long, and that down regulates their metabolism, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're broken, but they need to go through a reverse diet and ramp that back up.
Can you explain how somebody would go about doing that?
Yeah. So for instance, like I get a lot of, clients that come to me and they say, hey, I want to lose weight. And they've been eating sub 1,000 calories for months on end, if not years on end. That's very, very low. Like my 7-month-old infant eats like 700, 800 calories right now. It doesn't make any sense for a full-grown human to be consuming the same amount as my 7-month-old infant. So if you're eating that little for too long, your metabolism down regulates in order to kind of preserve what tissue you have. But you're going to lose a lot of lean mass in that process. The best thing that one can do is slowly increase their calories up over time, which is going to have a corresponding upregulation of their metabolic rate. It's going to make them more primed to build muscle. The more lean tissue they have, the more muscle they have, they're going to be able to have a higher metabolic rate as a result of that lean tissue, because muscle is very metabolically demanding. It basically primes them and puts them in a better position to build more muscle, improve their hormonal function, their metabolic function, and just simply be healthier.
How would you go about increasing your calories?
Usually pretty gradually. I mean, it kind of depends on the individual, but like if people come to me, it's a hard sell for me as a coach for sure. I mean, if they come to me and they want to lose weight and I'm saying, hey, I totally get it. In order for you to lose weight, you're probably going to have to increase calories, which may result in a temporary increase in weight. Nobody wants to hear that. But if they've been chronically under eating for months or years, that's honestly pretty much they're backed up against the wall, and that's what they need to do. So slowly increasing that intake is going to be, usually tolerated a little bit better because it's not going to result in any crazy unnecessary body fat gain. Plus, they can kind of scale it up over time. Their body acclimates to it slowly. So it's just better if you go about it more gradually.
I'm blown away because I don't think I've heard that advice before. I've heard you say it, but hearing you break it down like that makes a lot of sense, because honestly, most of our customers, so many of us have been under eating, like just our whole life. And one of the other things that I've noticed, Robert, is I was always hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So this is crazy. I've probably never shared this on Switch, but I grew up always hungry. And even as a kid, I remember my mom told me the story that they took me to the doctor because they were like, she's always crying for more milk. And the doctor actually told them, she's hungry. You need to be feeding her more. But I'm also a girl, right? So people thought that just naturally I would need less food when it came to my brother or whatever the case was. And I always remember, Robert, I was always hungry. And I told Brian this year, I'm like, for my entire life, I think I've always been hungry. Like I needed more food.
Yeah, and if you're not eating high quality, nutrient dense foods, then you could
Right.
be consuming a lot of calories, but you could still be hungry because you're simply not getting the mineral needs that you need, the micronutrient needs that your body's required. So yeah, making sure that you're prioritizing nutrient-dense food, you're probably going to reach a deeper level of satiety sooner. But it's pretty impressive what people are able to tolerate from a caloric standpoint if they're healthy and functioning at a higher rate. I mean, like I'm typically consuming north of 3,000 calories a day, and my weight stays stable. I've got female clients that are literally eating more than me. So it's totally doable as long as you've got a high, functioning metabolic rate.
Uh, Amazing. It's great to hear. I want to make sure I could go back and read some comments. So Jonah says resistance training is my exercise along with walking, works out great for me. Jacqueline, I love this. Great statement. Day-to-day consistency, discipline that carries into the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And Jonah says exercise is excellent for the body and mind, in my opinion. Okay, so Lori, I love Lori. She says, please tell me walking in the ocean up to my knees, fighting the tide and water resistance is working my core and helping my stability. 61 years old, and these beach walks are my favorite exercise.
Yeah, that's legit right there. I'd probably kick my butt for sure.
Well, Laura, you have it. And Jonah's asking, what is your take on intermittent fasting?
Yeah, so I'm a fan of it. Intermittent fasting is great. I do not recommend extended fasting in the context of a caloric deficit. Both have their place, but both are also stressors on the body. So doing both at the same time is just an unnecessary stress on the body. But doing intermittent fasting, in which case you're eating, in a condensed window on a day-to-day basis, is totally fine as long as you are consuming ample nutrition at some point in the day.
Do you have any clients, Robert, with who are fighting diabetes?
Yeah, I've actually had several, type 1 and type 2.
Okay. What would, because what I've been seeing, so I'll tell you my blood sugar. So my A1C is 6.4, which is 6.5 and up in Canada. A1C I think is the same, but blood sugars are different in the US and Canada. And actually, after I had COVID, my doctor said that they're seeing elevated A1Cs for at least a year after COVID. So I've been doing everything. So one thing that I've noticed is my morning blood sugars are really high. And this is not medical advice. I'm mostly just telling you my story and what I've been going through. I am kind of teetering between if I eat too much, let's just say, I'm the thing that works for me to get my blood sugars really down is extended fasting. If I don't eat, and I'll do bone broth, I'll do all my aids, bone broth, cream and coffee, all of those things. But extended fasting really helps get my morning blood sugars down. That's a goal for me. However, after breaking an extended fast, which is where I kind of come back to this chronically undereating, I'm starving, right? I'm starving because I also do intermittent fasting. So I really like this point of yours of not mixing intermittent fasting every day and then doing extended fasting, because I think I'm going back to I'm just starving and I'm hungry all the time.
Yeah.
It's just trying to balance those two.
How long are you doing your extended fast for?
48 hours 48 hours. Sometimes I'll go Sunday night to Wednesday morning. So sometimes I'll do 3 days, but I don't do I haven't done a 5-day or anything like that. But by the second night, my blood sugars are tanking at night, which is what I want to see, right? I want to see them really go down. And then I notice that the morning elevation is dropping.
Yeah. So when I'm in a caloric deficit, so for instance, my maintenance intake is around 3,000 calories. If I'm in a deficit, my average blood sugar is going to be lower. When I'm in a surplus, it's going to trend a little bit higher. I'll do extended fasting when I am north of 3,000 calories on average, because I do think there's a benefit to giving your digestive system a break and just kind of incorporating those strategic extended fast when in the context of a caloric surplus. In the context of a caloric deficit, like if I'm dieting down, trying to lose body fat, and I am south of 3,000 calories, then I won't incorporate those extended fasts, and I would just simply lean on those intermittent fasts. Now, as calories get lower and lower and lower, you'll see your average blood glucose also trend lower, because a lot of the benefits that come from those extended fasts are also going to happen in the context of being in a deficit. It just may take a little bit more time because you're going about it a little bit less aggressively. Like simply not eating for 48 hours is going to be more aggressive than slowly chipping away at your intake over the course of several weeks. So you'll still see a downward trend in your blood glucose with the deficit, independent of extended fasting. So I would just say the extended fasting for periods of time in which you're eating more in general.
I love that. And is that kind of what you're seeing? I guess I would come back to, have you seen clients reverse their diabetes, pre-diabetes, with some of the things or advice you've been giving them? Again, I'm just asking what kind
Totally.
of.
Totally. And
Yeah,
honestly, like when you, like, if you were to be strategic in building more muscle is also going to help with your baseline blood glucose, because, training, burning body fats, mobilizing fatty acids through fatty acid oxidation through training when you are fat adapted, all of that's going to work to burn excess blood sugar. Having more muscle is going to make your threshold for what you can do with that blood sugar improve. And as you
amazing.
lose body fat, your likelihood of reducing your baseline blood sugar is also going to improve. So as you build muscle and lose body fat, that's probably going to be your single best ticket for reversing the type 2 diabetes for sure.
I love it. Thank you. How do we find you? Because I know I didn't let you do an intro, and I'm kind of going to I'd really like for you to talk about what services between you and Crystal you offer, because Aaron, AD Keto, I think Crystal worked with his mom. Am I right? Did she work with his mom?
I think
Maybe,
so.
but he's spoken so highly of Crystal. And I would just love, because there's so much, I see you guys everywhere. There's Team Savage, there's Live Savage, there's, this beautiful t-shirt I'm wearing, which
Yeah.
I am obsessed. It is so soft. And Bree wanted one and I just kept it. I'm like, no, I'm not giving this to you. I'm sorry. Like, nobody on my team is getting a keto. No, they will, but it's so soft. So I'd love to kind of hear from you about all the things that you do, the things that you love and enjoy doing. So, we can follow you everywhere where it fits us.
Yeah, it's kind of a mouthful. So Crystal's got Lady Savage. So she's got ladysavage.com. She's got the.lady.savage Instagram. That's pretty much her female fitness oriented branding. We've got Team Savage, which is kind of her and mine combined. We're going to redo that a little bit. We're going to start Live Savage, which is going to be like our parenting, lifestyle, homesteading brand. That one we have not really dove deep into yet. I've got Keto Savage, which is my coaching, fitness, nutrition, et cetera, KetoSavage.com. I've got the book that I wrote, Ketogenic Bodybuilding. That's available at ketogenicbodybuilding.com. We've got Keto Brick, ketobrick.com for the brick. We've got the apparel that we make at livesavageapparel.com. We've got Deeper State Keto, which is like an online course that I made a while back. And then I'm actually in the process of building out another course now. And that's going to be all specific to natural bodybuilding with a ketogenic protocol. So lots of different things and lots of different things coming still.
I have to ask, how do you do all that? Like, how do you possibly, like, I'm just blown away because I want to do all those things. I want to be you, Robert. How can I create more time in my day to do this?
I don't know. I mean, I wake up at 3, usually 3 or 4, to start working on this stuff, and I go to bed at like 8 or 9.
So thank you for staying up today for us.
Yeah, no problem. I'm enjoying this. So I try to maximize the efficiency of my 24 hours for sure. But I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that it was, super easy. I mean, there's many times where I sacrifice personal life. I'm a bit of a workaholic. Crystal and I just had a conversation about how she's having a hard time fitting it all in. I have a hard time fitting it all in. It's certainly not all sunshine and rainbows, because it is hard to fit it all. I love it all and I want to pursue it all. But, I've tried to create a life in which everything is symbiotic in nature. Everything works together. It builds the base. I don't like this concept of work-life balance, because I feel like in that they compete for one another and one's rising and one's falling. I like the concept of tensegrity, or tensional integrity, in which everything is placed under pressure, but that pressure causes more integrity, more structural resilience, so to speak. So I've tried to create a life in which case everything builds the whole. And sometimes that works out beautifully, and sometimes I got to figure out how to tweak things a little bit. And this is one of those times.
Well, and I think parenting, thank you for sharing that, because I think parenting also throws you in the loop because,
Yeah.
you know, we were very lucky our first year and a half. Mason, if he's watching this back when he's 18, which is partly why I do these, he napped amazing. So I don't want to tell you because I think Crystal and you might get jealous, but Mason napped like 7 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
So it was insane. So he would go to nap from like 9 to 12 and then 3 to 6 or not 3 to 6. Okay. 9 to 12 and then 2 to 4 or something like that. So you had like 3 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. So we were like, yeah, this is amazing. We could do this. We got this. And then he turned 14 months and never slept a night ever through the night. So then we were just like, oh, so all of our friends who, you know, had these 2-year-olds, they're like, oh, we're finally out of it. We're like, what? Why are we starting it? What's happening? So I think for us, you know, Brian and I are a couple who work together. My co-founder, Brian, we work together. We do a lot of things together. And we really find every 3 months, we were like, hey, we have it. It's good. We're good. We're solid. This is it. And then 3 months later, something completely changes. And we're like, okay, we're not good again. So now we need to like readjust. And then 3 months later, we're like, we can do this. Like, let's have another kid. What are we even doing? And then we're like, no, we need to like readjust. So I'm getting used to the dips and the lows of we always need to readjust and whatever the case is, you know. So that's something that I just wanted to share with you because now episode 3, he's so much fun.
Yeah.
Rigel is he's gonna be like he was gonna hang out with you. You guys are gonna be able to take him places. He's gonna be talking. He's gonna be like, take me here, take me there, do this with me. It just gets a lot more fun. And so this is like Brian and I are always like, we want to spend more time with him now because he's you know, he's like active and excited and things like that. So we're again in the process where in December we said we would talk to each other and we would think about, okay, how do we want 2020? How do we make things easier for us at work? What is something that we can systematize that should just make it easier? So that I don't send you a link for a show maybe 2 hours before and I should send it to you yesterday.
No. It's all good. I totally get it. I mean, right now, Rigel is not in the napping stage at all. I mean, he sleeps pretty good throughout the night, but he's not taking any naps during the day, which makes getting work done more challenging for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He will nap again. Rigel, nap if you can hear me.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. I do want to give a shout out to your podcast because I listened to 2 episodes today and I absolutely love it. You have 525 episodes.
Yes.
So this is going to be something I'm going to have to binge in 2023. Could you tell us what you do on, like, what are the episodes about? What do you focus on when it comes to the Keto Savage podcast?
Yeah, so it definitely started out as being like exclusively nutrition stuff. And that's pretty much the bulk of it. But I'll bring on just people that I'm interested in talking with. Like I'll bring on people that are in the business space. I'll bring on people that are in the parenting space, in the nutrition or fitness space. I just bring on people that I want to talk to and learn something from. Sometimes these are people that are really well known. Sometimes they're people that aren't known at all, but have an interesting story. So yeah, it's just honestly a summation of people that I've found over the years and have learned something from or have brought onto the show to see if the listeners would learn something. So I love it. I love meeting people through it.
I love it. And I love how you're very, you have a lot of expertise and knowledge when it comes to asking questions. So anyone listening, I highly encourage you to go and pick one episode. I was listening to the one where I think it was genetics, where somebody had gone and looked at their cholesterol and they literally talked through, you probed and pushed on the cholesterol question. And I found that discussion so insightful because sometimes we think the answer is black and white. And, you know, he kept saying, no, it's gray. No, you can't use that as an absolute or no, whatever. So you really pushed there. And I loved that discussion. I'll post that episode on Switch because I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I'll intentionally bring people on that I know I disagree with. Like I've brought on a lot of hardcore vegans, and it's a very respectful conversation. Like I don't ever try and tag people on there, but I want to hear why they think the way they do, because if my approach to nutrition is well founded, I should be able to hear their argument and still be solid in my belief towards it all. So I like bringing on people that I know I disagree with, just so I can get that different perspective.
Okay, I'm gonna go have to find one of those episodes because now I'm more excited.
There's quite a few of those actually, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I will. I'll definitely find one. Well, thank you. This has been honestly wonderful talking to you. You're like a wealth of knowledge, and thank you for helping me, with
Thank
even
you.
some of
Thanks
my
for
questions.
having me.
So I'll end off with saying that we are launching Keto Brick on Friday, Chocolate Mint. I'll keep you posted how it goes in Canada. And we're just great. I think we're fully in stock of Keto Brick. I think we might be low on the buttered maple pecan now that I think about it. Is that a permanent flavor? Am I forgetting?
No, it's not. We've been sold out of that one for a while. Right now, we're sold out of everything right now almost. So people can go to you in Canada for sure. We're going to be restocking a lot of them this week. We've just restocked chocolate peanut butter cup today. But yeah, I mean, the mint chocolate sold out, like I said, the day we launched it. So hopefully you have a successful launch as well.
Okay, amazing. We have 5 buttered maple pecans left. And I think those are 5 we found in our warehouse. So we put them in stock. Like, when you hold some back and then we're like, okay, like everybody got their orders. So I think Brian put those 5 in stock today. And Jacqueline says, thank you both so much. Excited for the launch. Time for the launch. It is 7:45 in the morning. And Brian has confirmed we have 5 buttered maple left. And Lori says, great show. Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert. We really appreciate your time. And get some rest.
Hey, appreciate you. Love the conversation. If there's everything I can do for you, just let me know. I've truly enjoyed working with you, sending the bricks up there to Canada to help all the Canadian customers out. So yeah, thank you so much for the relationship.
Amazing. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye. Good night.